Finding a truly secure cloud storage solution sometimes feel like searching for a digital fortress in a landscape of cardboard castles. Every month, there's another data breach hitting the headlines, and I'm just sitting here thinking, there's gotta be something better out there, right? Now, that's exactly why Tresorit caught my attention. This isn't just another cloud storage service promising security as some afterthought. They've built their entire identity around it. And look, I'll be honest. After spending weeks really putting this thing through its paces, I've discovered something interesting. It delivers on that security promise, but it's also definitely more expensive than what you're probably used to. But here's the real question. Is that premium price actually justified? And more importantly, is this the right choice for you? And that's what we're gonna figure out today. And I'm not here to sugarcoat it. I'm gonna tell you the exact truth, what you need to take into consideration before making a decision. And I'm gonna break down everything you need to know about Tresorit, the core features, how sharing works in practice, the sync functionality, and trust me, there are some surprises there. The advanced security options that will either impress you or make you think they've gone overboard. We'll talk about ease of use, and obviously we're gonna do our performance speed tests here in this video. We're gonna talk about privacy practices and of course, the pricing that might make your wallet just weep a tiny little bit. Now ready? Let's dive in. At its core, Tresorit offers what you'd expect from any cloud storage provider, a place to essentially dump your files securely in the cloud, but it's how Tresorit handles your data that completely sets it apart from the Google Drives and the Dropboxes and the OneDrives of the world. The standout feature here, and I mean, the thing that made me go, okay, now we're talking, I might be able to use this for my accounting data, is client-side encryption. And what does client-side encryption actually mean? Well, your files get encrypted before they ever leave your device, and only you hold the decryption keys. Now, even if Tresorit's CEO wanted to peek at your vacation photos, hey, why not? They literally couldn't do it. And that's a fundamental difference from a mainstream provider who can technically access your data, even if they pinky promise they won't. Now, file management in Tresorit is, well, it's pretty straightforward, but it's honestly also pretty basic. You can create folders and subfolders. It's really groundbreaking stuff, right? But it lacks the more advanced sorting and organization tools you might be used from other services. For example, I'm thinking, hey, you want to maybe color code your folders on the web or something like that? I mean, we know this from Google Drive. One thing they do get right is file versioning. Now they get more things right, obviously, but file versioning is something that I want to point out here. Tresorit keeps track of previous versions of your documents, which saved my butt more than once during testing. And not only during testing, but also in my really day-to-day cloud storage usage. Personal users get 10 versions and professional users get 100. And enterprise users get basically unlimited versioning. It's pretty solid. The service works across all major platforms, Windows, Linux, Mac OS, obviously, iOS, Android. So you've got some flexibility there. Sharing files is something that I really want to talk about here because it's where Tresorit actually starts to shine a lot, especially if security keeps you up at night. You can share individual files or entire folders either through a link or by inviting people via email. It's pretty standard stuff so far. Here's what impressed me. The granular control you get over these shared links is honestly pretty sweet. You can password protect shared files, set expiration dates, so someone doesn't have access forever. You can control the number of downloads, require users to verify their email before accessing files, and even get email notifications whenever someone accesses your stuff. These security features go way beyond what most competitors offer, even on their premium tiers. When you're sharing folders, Tresorit gives you basically 3 permission levels: manager, editor, and viewer. Pretty self-explanatory so far. Managers have full control and can add other users. Editors can modify files but can't mess with permissions, and viewers can only, well, view what is inside the folder. During my testing, I found the sharing process intuitive across desktop, web, and mobile. The extra security steps don't make things complicated. They just make things secure. For businesses handling sensitive information, these robust sharing controls could genuinely be a game changer. And file syncing with Tresorit is also reliable. But here's where I have to call out something that honestly surprised me. The syncing itself is fast and consistent. I could access newly uploaded files across multiple devices almost immediately after upload completed, which is essentially what you want. And Tresorit offers selective sync, letting you choose which files and folders sync to your local device. It's really super useful if you're working with limited storage space and you don't need constant access to everything in your cloud. But here's the thing that caught me off guard a little bit. There's no block level sync. What's that mean? Well, when you make a small change to a large file, Tresorit re-uploads the entire thing instead of just transferring the modified parts. So if you tweak one slide in a massive PowerPoint presentation or edit a small part of a huge video, the whole file gets uploaded again. And this is honestly surprising for a premium service, especially since competitors like pCloud offer this feature. I mean, we're paying premium prices here. Well, should we get this premium efficiency? Now, that said, my speed tests show that the lack of block level sync doesn't seem to slow Tresorit down much in practice, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. We'll dive deep into performance numbers in a bit, so really do stick around. On the plus side, Tresorit lets you sync any folder on your computer without moving it to some designated sync folder, something many cloud services don't offer, and this is super convenient, especially if you don't want to fit your files into a cloud storage service. You want rather your cloud storage service fit into your file structure and organizational system, right? So you can keep your existing file organization and still get cloud backup and sync, which is honestly pretty convenient. Now, we're getting into these features that'll either make you think, wow, this is exactly what I need, or you go like, okay, this is way overkill for me. And Tresorit offers several advanced features that cater primarily to business users with specific security needs. And this is actually what Tresorit is for. It is mainly catered towards businesses. Now, depending on how you define a business, this could be a single agency, for example, or it could be a massive 50, 100 employee organization. So both businesses work with Tresorit. Now, the most impressive feature is the e-signature functionality. It's available on all business plans, and this lets you send documents via your Tresorit account and request legally binding signatures, all while keeping everything end-to-end encrypted throughout the process. There's no need for third-party services like DocuSign, which can easily cost you $20, $30 a month, which means your sensitive contracts stay within your secure ecosystem and file system. No other addition that you need there, and you're going to save some money. Another standout feature is Tresorit's email encryption integrations for Gmail and Outlook. And think about it. Even if your cloud storage is Fort Knox secure, what happens when you email those files? And Tresorit solves this with browser extensions for Gmail and plugins for Outlook that encrypt your attachments and, in Outlook's case, even the email contents themselves. And here's something interesting I learned from Tresorit's support team. Outlook emails sent through the integrations are stored on Tresorit's servers, not Microsoft's. Your communications stay truly private. These advanced features might seem excessive if you're just storing family photos, but they demonstrate Tresorit's commitment to comprehensive security. So if you're in law, healthcare, or finance, these tools could honestly be the deciding factor for you. Tresorit strikes a pretty good balance between security and usability, though it occasionally leans toward security at the expense of convenience. The user interface is pretty clean and minimalistic. Most features are logically placed in the left-hand menu, and honestly, it's not really hard to figure it out. The design uses elegant fonts and good spacing, making it easy to navigate even if you're jumping in for the first time. You can switch between light and dark mode based on your preference, and business users can add their company logo for a personalized touch. During my testing, I found the desktop applications for Windows and macOS to be particularly well designed. They create create a sync folder in File Explorer or Finder so you can manage files intuitively without learning some weird new interface, and you can export files directly from third-party apps into your Tresorit folder and they'll immediately start uploading. Pretty seamless overall. Here comes a nice and welcome addition to everyone who's basically worried about files clogging up their precious hard drive space. Tresorit lets you enable their so-called drive feature that lets you see and access all your files even if they are not synced to your device. This is one of the most important features that I use all the time and that I love about services like pCloud, who essentially popularized this feature. The mobile apps maintain the simplicity while offering easy access to your files on the go, and interestingly, the mobile apps include some exclusive features you won't find on desktop or web. Document scanning, a built-in camera that automatically uploads photos, and a basic notes app. If you're looking for Tresorit to handle collaboration and productivity like Google Workspace, well, you're gonna be disappointed. It's not a replacement for that level of functionality, but honestly, that's the trade-off you make for better encryption and privacy. If you wanna have real-time document editing capabilities, well, you gotta bite the bullet and go for Google Docs. There's hardly a better solution out there. I gotta give credit where credit is due. The Microsoft Office integration caught me off guard, but in a good way. You can open and work with Word files through the Tresorit desktop app, and changes update as you save. It's not the most streamlined workflow, but it gets the job done if Microsoft is your preferred productivity suite. One limitation that'll bug you maybe a little bit if you have tons of files, the search functionality is pretty basic. You can only search by file name or extensions, not by content within files. For users with large document collections, finding specific information could be a little bit challenging. And these limitations reflect Tresorit's focus on security, obviously over convenience. Features like online editing and content searching often require the service to have some access to your data, which would compromise their zero-knowledge encryption model. I know you've been waiting for this, and I promise you I will get to this in this review, and we're now at the speed chapter. Let's talk about it, because this can really make or break your cloud storage experience, especially when you're dealing with large files. I tested Tresorit's upload and download speeds using my standard 5 GB folder, containing a mix of photos, videos, and documents. And the tests were conducted on a 1 gigabit per second connection, throttled down to 100 megabits per second for consistency, plus, you know me, I did an additional unthrottled test at the full 1 gigabit per second speed. At the throttled 100 megabits connection, uploads and downloads averaged just over 7 minutes. These are honestly quite impressive numbers that put Tresorit on par with the fastest cloud storage providers I've tested. However, I did notice the speeds weren't always that stable. They'd fluctuate a bit during our transfers. When I ran tests at full 1 gigabit per second speeds, Tresorit showed it can definitely take advantage of the extra bandwidth. Downloads saw significant improvements in transfer speeds and transfer times. Uploads, however, still averaged around 7 minutes. While not the absolute fastest I've tested, it's more than quick enough for most users. And if you want to look at the detailed speed tests, we're going to link to them in the notes here in the video, so you can check them out if you want. CPU usage during file transfers was pretty average, if I recall. I could browse the web and do light tasks where files were uploading or downloading, but more intensive applications might slow down during larger file transfers. And here's something worth noting. Tresorit speeds have improved dramatically over recent years. In previous testing from 2022 that we did, performance was significantly slower. So props to them for investing in infrastructure and improvements. And that really shows me that a service wants to shine and wants to improve and is really worth my investment. Because if I invest in a cloud storage service, I don't only invest money into the annual plan, I invest mental resources and energy to transfer my files into the service and use a different logic for my business and even for my team. So there's also some teaching and some changes required if you decide to hop on a new cloud storage service. So that's what makes me confident using Tresorit and also recommending Tresorit to you guys if you want to use it in your business, if you are a security-focused user. What is particularly impressive is that Tresorit achieves these speeds while also maintaining end-to-end encryption, which typically adds overhead to transfers. Many security-focused services sacrifice speed for privacy, but Tresorit manages essentially to deliver both, making it compelling for users who need to transfer large files securely. And speaking of security, it's Tresorit's biggest selling point. So I paid extra attention to these features during testing. So let's start with encryption. Tresorit uses AES 256-bit encryption for files both in transit and at rest. It's basically industry standard stuff. Still, I think it's always good to mention here in this video. But the real magic is the client-side encryption model. Your files are encrypted on your device, on your laptop, on your mobile device, wherever you create the file. And only you hold the encryption keys. And this zero-knowledge approach means Tresorit literally cannot access your data, even if they wanted to. We've discussed this also in other videos about specifically zero-knowledge encryption. Tresorit is also headquartered in Switzerland, a country renowned for stringent privacy laws and protection against unauthorized surveillance. Unlike companies based in the US or other countries that might be subject to government data requests, the Swiss regulations provide robust protection for your digital information. Here's where data storage gets interesting. For most customers, especially personal plan users, your data lives on servers either in the Netherlands or Ireland. If you happen to live in Switzerland, your data stays on Swiss-based servers. Business customers get way more options. They can choose from 12 different locations, including Switzerland, Ireland, the Netherlands, France, Germany, the UK, UAE, Singapore, and the US. And for security, Tresorit offers two-factor authentication through various methods: text, phone, or the popular authenticator apps. There's also a failed login attempts feature that helps monitor unauthorized access attempts. Tresorit's security claims aren't just marketing fluff. They've been verified through independent audits by security firms that are part of the globally respected TÜV Rheinland group. Plus, they have ISO 27001 certification. They also provide an extensive security white paper that anyone can download and read, and that's really what, in my book, I call transparency. Privacy-wise, Tresorit commits to GDPR compliance through end-to-end encryption and claims to collect only minimal data necessary for the operation. They don't scan your files or analyze content, a practice some mainstream providers engage in. But here's one potential concern I need to mention. Tresorit uses Microsoft Azure's cloud infrastructure to store data. While Azure has a strong security reputation, it did suffer a security breach in July 2023 when a Chinese group called Storm 0588 gained unauthorized access to organizations and individual accounts. Privacy-conscious users might prefer a provider that owns its entire infrastructure. However, given the client-side encryption model, even Microsoft wouldn't be able to access your Tresorit data if Azure became compromised. Let's talk money. And let me start by saying that Tresorit isn't cheap. There's no way around it. Premium security comes at a premium price. But if your business depends on it, I think it's really worth paying. Now, the free plan offers a modest 3 gigabytes of storage, which isn't significantly less than Google Drive's 15 gigabytes or Mega's 20 gigabytes. It's really more of a trial than a viable long-term solution. Honestly, you'll blow through 3 gigabytes in maybe like a week. I mean, even with documents these days or PDFs, you can fill it up pretty fast. Every plan comes with a 14-day free trial, which is quite nice. For personal users, plans start at around $5 per month for 50 gigabytes of storage, and for around 12, you get 1 terabyte, and just under $30 gets you the personal pro plan with 4 terabytes. Business plans start at a higher price point, but include additional features like admin controls and audit logs. Compared to mainstream providers like Google Drive or OneDrive, Tresorit considerably is more expensive. We're talking multiple times the cost. And even among security-focused competitors like Sync.com, who offer similar features just at a lower price point, but I mean, consider what you're actually paying for here, right? Tresorit includes client-side encryption by default across all plans, while some competitors charge extra for this feature. pCloud, for instance, requires an additional payment for their encrypted crypto folder. If you're running a business in regulated industries, the included compliance features and advanced security tools might actually make Tresorit more cost-effective than piecing together multiple services to achieve the same level of protection. After extensive testing, it's crystal clear that Tresorit excels at what it does. Provide highly secure cloud storage with robust privacy protections. That's what they're really, really good at. It's not trying to be all things to all people. And honestly, well, that focused approach results in a service that truly delivers on its privacy promise. I tend to hate services who want to be everything, want to include every bells and whistles, because it tends to be too complicated, it tends to be convoluted, some features don't work as well, and in the end, it's not worth it, because I'd rather buy a specific service for a specific need than have the one-size-fits-all solution. Now, for individual users, Tresorit makes the most sense if you regularly work with sensitive documents that require absolute privacy. Think financial records, personal identification documents, or confidential work files. For example, as a business, you oftentimes have to do a KYC, which is known as the Know Your Customer, and the bank wants to have a lot of information from you, like where your ID, your utility bills, and whatnot. And these sensitive files that you really don't want anybody to see, other than the person obviously who does the KYC at the bank, you can store that on Tresorit, keep a separate folder there, and you have always your cloud storage documents handy that you can share with just a simple click, as I discussed here in this video. But if you're primarily storing photos, videos, and everyday documents, the premium price is honestly a little hard to justify when more affordable options exist. For businesses, especially those in regulated industries, we're looking at healthcare, obviously finance, law, Tresorit presents a really compelling package. The combination of zero-knowledge encryption, Swiss data protection, also the e-signature capabilities and compliance features addresses multiple security needs, multiple security buckets, all in one solution, which eventually might even save you some money down the line. So I'd say Tresorit is like a high-end security system for your house if you have precious valuables to protect. The investment in my book makes complete sense. If you're storing everyday items, it's probably a little bit overkill. The service isn't perfect. The lack of video playback on the web, the absence of block level sync, and limited editing capabilities are notable downsides, but these limitations are largely by design and sacrifices made at the altar of absolute security, if you will. Ultimately, if security and privacy are your top priorities and you're willing to pay a premium for them, then Tresorit honestly is one of the best options available. Just make sure you actually need that level of security before you commit. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you used Tresorit, or are you considering it? What type of business do you run that needs this level of privacy? What factors matter most to you when choosing a cloud storage service? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more honest tech reviews. And thanks for watching. I'll see you hopefully in my next video. Bye-bye.